Hello everybody, and welcome to another virtual summer reading story time. This summer, our theme is Tales and Tales, so we get to read animal books all summer long. This week, we're going to be looking at the rainforest. The rainforest is an amazing place in the world. It has over half of all known animal species in the world, and that is pretty amazing. Let's take a look at just one of those unique species by reading Chimpanzees by Hansen. This book looks into the lives of chimpanzees from when they're little babies all the way until they're all grown up. Chimpanzees by Hansen. Habitats and homes. Chimpanzees live in Africa. They can live in many different habitats. Chimps live in Africa's rainforests. They live in its woodlands and grasslands too. Chimps live in groups. Groups can have 20 to 150 members. These groups have territories. They protect their homes from other groups. Food. Chimps mainly eat fruits and plants. They also eat insects. Sometimes they even eat small mammals. Using tools. Chimps often use tools to eat. They fish for insects with twigs. Do you use tools to eat? What about like a fork and a spoon? Chimps use rocks to open nuts. First, a chimp finds an anvil and a hammer. Then, the chimp hits the shell with the hammer. This cracks the nut's shell. Sharing. Sometimes, a chimp cannot find a hammer, so the chimp might steal another chimp's hammer. This makes the other chimp mad. Sometimes, the chimp asks nicely to use another chimp's hammer. Other chimps will usually share theirs. Sharing is important for chimps. Using good manners is important too. The end. This book was called Chimpanzees by Hansen. Chimpanzees lead really interesting lives, don't you think? There are lots and lots of different kinds of animals in the rainforest, and we won't be able to look at all of them. This next book, Rainforest Life Cycles by Sean Callery, tells us all about 10 different animals that live in the rainforest. We won't be able to read about all of them today, but let's take a look at a few. Rainforest by Sean Callery. Rainforests are thick forests where it is warm and wet all year round. These are the perfect conditions for life, and half of all the world's animals live here. All animals must eat to survive. Their lives are a deadly game of hide and seek as they look for food and try to avoid predators. The list of who eats who is called a food chain. This book normally would take us through 3 food chains and 10 different animals that live in the rainforest. But we're only going to read about a few today. If you want to read more, feel free to check this book out from your library. The armadillo. Armadillos sniff out ants and termites with their long noses. They dig into the nests with their sharp claws and scoop up the insects on their sticky tongues. 9-banded armadillos usually live alone in underground burrows, but they meet up to mate. After 4 months, the mother gives birth to 4 babies. These are identical because they've grown from the same egg. Their skin is very soft. Armadillo babies feed on their mother's milk for 3 months. The skin on their backs hardens to form a tough shell within weeks. In 6 months, the young are ready to leave. Adult armadillos are good swimmers. Their shells are heavy, so they gulp in a lot of air to help them stay afloat. The jaguar. The jaguar is one of the biggest, strongest hunters in the rainforest. It eats any animal it can kill, including armadillos, monkeys, deer, birds, and snakes. It swims well, so it eats fish too. Jaguars live alone and meet only to mate. After 13 weeks, the female gives birth to between 2 and 4 cubs. Jaguar cubs are blind for the first 2 weeks of their life. They feed on their mother's milk for 3 months and stay in the den with her until they are 6 months old. The cubs hunt with their mother for up to 2 years and practice their hunting skills by play fighting. Then they leave to find their own territory. Adult jaguars can run fast only for short distances. They do not chase their prey, but creep up on it from behind. The saltwater crocodile. Saltwater crocodiles live in any type of water, from oceans to the rivers and pools in the rainforest. They lurk, ready to leap up and grab prey in their strong jaws. The female lays 60 to 80 eggs. She guards the nest well to protect the eggs from predators. After 80 days, the babies use a special tooth to break a hole in their shells. They call out to their mother, and sometimes she helps them hatch. The mother carries the hatchlings to the water. She protects and feeds them for 8 weeks while they learn to swim. When they've learned to hunt, the young crocodiles are ready to find their own territory. No prey is too large for an adult, on land or in the water. The tree frog. Tree frogs climb and jump among the branches and hop down to the forest floor. They flick out their long, sticky tongues to catch insects along the way. The female leaves her tree, finds a stream, and lays 200 eggs on overhanging plants. The eggs are stuck together in jelly so that they cannot be washed away. Tadpoles grow inside the eggs, and when they're strong enough, they break free. They are like tiny fish that flick their tails to swim. They breathe through gills. The tadpoles grow legs. They develop lungs so that they can breathe air, and their tails disappear too. After about 16 weeks, the young frogs are ready to leave the water and find a tree to live in. They do not return to the water until it is time for them to breed. The helmet vanga. The helmet vanga lives deep in the rainforest. It sits on a tree's lower branches from where it can easily swoop down on its prey. A pair of birds builds a cup-shaped nest from twigs, roots, and leaves. They balance it where tree branches make a fork shape. The female lays up to 3 eggs. Sometimes other vangas help the parents by sitting on the eggs to keep them warm. When the chicks hatch, one parent keeps guard while the other hunts for food. The chicks' dull plumage helps keep them well hidden from predators. When they say plumage, they're talking about the feathers and colors of the feathers. Helmet vangas sit still in trees. They're usually hard to see until they fly out suddenly and snatch prey on the ground. The end. That book was called Rainforest by Sean Callery. If you're interested in other books about the rainforest, here are a few more that you can look for and check out in your library. Grumpy Monkey by Suzanne Lang is about a monkey who is, well, grumpy. Jim the chimpanzee is in a terrible mood and his friends can't understand why. They keep trying to help, but Jim won't stop being grumpy. We Became Jaguars by Dave Eggers and Woodrow White tells a story about a boy and his grandmother who dive right into the world of imagination and become jaguars. They play, run, and climb through breathtaking landscapes and discover wonderful things about nature and freedom. Jasper and Ollie Build a Fort is the second story in the Jasper and Ollie series. Jasper the fox and Ollie the sloth decide that they want to build a fort in the yard. Each has their own creative spin on what a fort should look like and how it should work. Whose fort would you choose? That's all for all of us today. We're so glad you were here with us, and we hope to see you in the next video. Take care.